Hello, my loves. Welcome back to another episode where faith meets healing and broken hearts find restoration. I'm your host, Irene, bestie in Christ on this journey of growing closer to God, healing from the past, and stepping boldly into His purpose for you. I hope you're ready because today's episode is going to shift your mindset about waiting on God. And my question to you today is, have you ever said something like this? I thought I'd be married by now. I thought I'd have a family, a house, or at least a boyfriend at this point in my life. It feels like everyone else is moving forward and I'm just here. Girl, I get it. We all have an internal timeline, a checklist of how we think our life should go. And when things don't happen, when and how we expect it, it feels frustrating, discouraging, and even unfair. But what if I told you God's timeline is always better than ours? Today, we're diving into what it means to surrender your timeline to God, why holding onto your own plans too tightly can block your blessings, and how to start trusting Him fully. I want you to feel freedom knowing that God's plans are not delayed, denied, or forgotten. They are right on time. So grab your journal, your tea, get comfy, and let's get into it. So back in my early 20s, I remember seeing friends get engaged and married. Although I already had kids, I was still waiting for quote unquote the one, or hoping the person I was with at that time become the one. I was praying and waiting and nothing was happening. I started questioning, did I do something wrong? God, are you punishing me? Am I asking for too much? Or have you ever felt like that? Like you're falling behind or God is like holding out on you or something. But let me remind you of this verse. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him and He will make straight your paths. That verse made me realize that I trusted my own understanding more than I trusted God. I wanted to control the timeline. I wanted to plan my life instead of letting God lead me. And every time I tried to force something to happen on my own, it never worked out the way I hoped. Maybe you can relate. Maybe you've settled for the wrong relationship. You made rushed decisions or tried to take shortcuts to speed up God's process, only to realize it wasn't worth it and it's not going to work out, or it didn't work out. So let's talk about why surrendering your timeline to God is actually the best thing you can do for you. If there's one couple in the Bible who struggled with waiting, it's Abraham and Sarah. So God promised them a son. This is in Genesis 15:4. But years went by and nothing happened. So Sarah got tired of waiting and decided, maybe I need to help God out. So she told Abraham to sleep with her servant Hagar to give them a child. What? Okay, so that's Genesis 16:1-2. Hagar gave birth to Ishmael, but guess what? That was not God's plan. Eventually, Sarah gave birth to Isaac, the son God had promised, but their impatience caused conflict, pain, and unnecessary struggles. We are trying to avoid that, guys. What's the lesson here? Trying to force our own timeline only leads to frustration. God's promise was always going to come to pass, but Sarah's impatience created a detour that didn't need to happen. So let me ask you, what are you holding on to so tightly that you haven't surrendered to God yet? Maybe it's a relationship you know isn't God's best, a dream or goal that isn't happening as fast as you can, the pressure of feeling like time is running out. Here's what happens when you truly surrender your timeline to God. You find peace. You stop stressing over when and how, and just trust that God has it handled. You avoid unnecessary pain. When you wait on God, you don't have to clean up a mess later. You align with God's best. Instead of chasing things that don't fit, you're positioned for what truly belongs to you. Surrendering doesn't mean giving up on your desires. It means trusting that God knows when and how to bring them into your life. Okay, so how do we actually do this? Here are 3 ways. 1, pray for alignment, not just an answer. Instead of praying, God, when is this going to happen? Pray, God, align my desires with your perfect plan. 2, let go of the by now mentality. Stop saying I should be married by now. Instead, say God's timing is perfect and I trust Him. 3, take faithful action instead of forcing things. Stay obedient to what God is calling you to do now. Instead of chasing, focus on growing, healing, and preparing. God's plan is better than yours, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Trust that He is working. Exciting news! I'm launching a free 5-day Waiting Season Devotional Series, Bible study and journaling, where we'll dive deeper into what to do while you wait. Stay tuned and follow me on Instagram. My info is in my show notes. See you at the next episode. Love you.
Mama would say, you gotta fight for what is right. To her I would say, I wanna give back the world some light. the